Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of our Zoom chat series. I'm Grace Parr, the social media coordinator on the short film Avernus, and today I'm joined by Sophie Levy, who plays Lou in Avernus, and we're going to have a bit of a chat. So firstly, what was it about the role of Lou that appealed to you?
Well, I think it was her cheekiness. I think she thinks she's a bit older than her years, but then she still has a bit of a childlike quality to her, which is quite fun to play. And she's got
Yeah,
herself in a bit of a tricky situation, so that's also a lot of fun.
that all you're giving away, that it's a tricky situation.
What am I giving away? I don't know what I'm allowed to give away, so I won't give away more than that.
We'll leave it on that. So I understand that you had to fit in filming whilst you were on tour with the Royal Shakespeare Company. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, so I was doing an 18-month job with the RSC doing Measure for Measure and As You Like It. So we were in the Barbican, so I was in London, which is why it could work out, and I had a few days off whilst, because it was in rep with 3 plays. So it was, another play was Taming of the Shrew, and that was the one I wasn't in. So whilst that was on, I could be filming, and it just worked out the dates perfectly.
Yeah, worked out nicely.
Yeah.
So how long were you with the RSC for on those 2 productions?
I think that was 18 months in total. At that point, I'd been on the job just over a year, so it was towards the end of the job, but it had been a while.
Yeah, and then obviously lockdown happened. How did it all work out when that happened for you?
It was really crazy. No one knew what was going on really, and I think there was a lot of mixed messaging at that point, and so it was a sense of, is this going to happen? Is this not going to happen? Should we be going on? Will we be going on? And lots of conversations backstage, but then still getting out and doing the shows. And we did have a meeting to sort of discuss that essentially we were going along with the government guidelines, which weren't to close at that point. And I was in Newcastle at that point, and I had a few days off. So I went back home, and I just had a sneaky suspicion that we might not go back on again. So I took all my stuff with me, and then we got the call to say it was cancelled, which was a shame because we had one last venue, Blackpool, to take it to, but we had to do it.
Yeah, it must have been, you got that call saying that you don't have to go back, and you were a bit like, oh, because one more show, like last run.
I know. It was also just difficult not to say goodbye to these people in person that you've been spending all your time with for so long, and they kind of become your family in a way. But it was a very, very bizarre experience. But we started a book club, some of us, so we meet on Zoom occasionally. So
Love that, a Zoom book club. So you left the Guildhall School of Music and Drama a few years ago now. How many years has that been?
yes, I think it was probably more than a few. I think it was maybe 7 years ago, I think I left.
Okay. And since then, you've done quite a lot of plays with the Royal Shakespeare Company.
Yes, so I think this was my 6th and 7th show with the RSC.
Wow.
Yeah, it's I've done that. When I say it like that, I realise quite how much I've worked for that company.
Yeah.
But I've always had a lovely time when I've worked there. I've had some. My first season there was just some incredible people that I'm still friends with now, and the season I've just done was brilliant. And then I've done 2 shorter plays, which were also really fun, but unusual when you're up in Stratford to do such short plays. It felt, when I did those ones, I was like, this doesn't feel right to be leaving after 6 weeks. I should be 6 months.
That's quite a remarkable achievement, to do that many. 7, you said?
Yes, so it's 7, yeah.
So did you always aspire to be an actress?
I always wanted to be a performer. I loved to sing. I was always doing shows. I think my first goal was to be a singer. I wanted to be a jazz singer, but then music A level turns into maths at a certain point with all the theory, and that was a little bit tricky for me. So So I did theatre and performance, and then I went to Warwick University to get a real degree, as my parents said. always have a fallback.
Well, smart idea.
I
But
mean, yeah.
obviously you don't need it though.
Well, who knows? Who knows?
What?
Who knows what's to come?
You definitely don't. Is there any advice that you would give to younger people watching who might aspire to be in the theatre or in that career that you're in?
I mean, I think it's a really challenging point for young people who are considering getting into the industry, especially when you're looking at theatres that are shut, theatres that are closing. You know, it's difficult. But I mean, I love my job when I'm lucky enough to do it. My advice would be any route is the right route. If you want to go to drama school, do it. If you don't worry about it. You know, so many talented people haven't been. Other really talented people didn't really enjoy it. So, you know, if it feels like it's something for you, then my advice is definitely aim to do it. But if it doesn't feel like your path, there's no need to take it.
Yeah, I think that's the good thing about the industry though, isn't it? That you can come from all walks of life, and I guess if you're passionate about what you do, then you can succeed and get to places like you've been.
Well, yes. I mean, it's a tricky business, but I wouldn't stop anyone following their passions, because I think that's what life's about, really.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So lastly, Avernus, I believe, was only shot in a few days. Was this hard for you as in the cast and crew?
Well, I think it was probably harder on some of the cast and some of the crew who had to be outside. Well, all of the crew actually. I didn't have to be outside, and it was absolutely freezing. So now it's summertime and we're all a bit hot. I can't really remember what it was like to have frost on the ground, but it was really freezing outside, and they were having early morning shoots. So I felt a bit guilty when I came in and
All warm and
having a coffee inside, waiting in the warm. Although when they did open the doors at one point to, I think, get some lights out, and I was getting a little chilly, so David, the producer, gave me his and writer gave me his jacket, which I think there's a picture somewhere.
There is a photo of that somewhere. I've seen it. That'll be coming soon, that photo. So that must have also been strange for you, going from working with a cast and crew for a year and a half, to then being with this cast and crew on Avernus for just a few short days.
Yeah, it was. It sort of felt like a shame, because I really got on with everyone, and everyone was so lovely that we weren't doing a bigger project. But it was also really nice, having spent such a long period of time only working with the same people, and especially, you know, it's the same scenes with the same people every night. It was so refreshing, actually, to be with different people. And I've seen the trailer, which looks great. That's when I saw their faces again. I was like, oh, miss you guys. That was fun.
You know? Oh, I remember you. So I think we'll leave it on that. Thank you very much for taking time out of your day to speak to me today. Like Sophie mentioned, if you haven't already seen the trailer, you can watch that on our YouTube channel, which is at Blue Elephant Films. And it's also linked on all our social media channels, which is Facebook, Twitter and Instagram at Avernus Film. But other than that, we'll be back with another episode within our Zoom chat series shortly. But that's all for today. Thank you everyone for watching.